Neil, that was a tough one to take out there this afternoon. How do you reflect on it?
Really strange one. I knew how good they were going forward because obviously they've scored 17 goals prior to our game, so we did loads of work about how we might cause them problems, but then made the players really aware of their threats on the break and their pace and their movement. So I think there's parts of the game I'm pleased with. Obviously it's hard to say that with a 5-1 defeat, but we've had probably 2 or 3 1v1s, some great chances. We probably could have scored 3 or 4, so going forward we look good. But every time, the sort of worrying trend is every time the opposition have that little sort of 15-20 minute spell like they did at the end of the first half, all of a sudden we found ourselves 2-1 down, and you're kind of going, well, how's this happened? Because we felt like we was in control of the game. And it's probably a soft underbelly that I talked about in the summer when I arrived that probably was there last season in the away form. Teams aren't probably working hard enough to score against us. You look at the Barnet game, Barnet had a 10-15 minute spell at the end of the game, their only really spell, and then we concede a goal. So we have to be better at that, and if we want to end up where we are in the league. But it's one of them days, a bad day at the office, particularly defensively.
Particularly in that first half, did you look at the way we were creating chances and space? I think maybe we could have taken more advantage of that time and the spell we had.
Of course, it's football, isn't it? Even at 2-1 in the second half, we changed the shape, we tried to sort of cause them a problem, and again I thought for probably 60% of the game we were the team with the ball trying to make things happen, but you always knew that they had that threat going forward which they carried in all their other games. So the third goal kills us. It's just, I think, a square pass. It's a mistake, and 3-1, the scoreline becomes hard, and then you need to take a bit of pride and maybe sort of batten down the hatches a little bit. But we didn't. We kept trying to push for the goal, and 4th and 5th sort of come from that. But at 2-1, I think Joe's had a 1v1. I think Dallo's had a chance. Bawley's had one. So it's one of them. Football's about taking your chances. Football's about being good at one end and good at the other end. And today we were, didn't take our chances and weren't as good as we probably could be at the end product at one end, and we were very, very poor at the other.
Disappointing start with Danny Newson coming off. Is there an update on his situation?
Just a dead leg, got smashed by the goalie from when Dallo went through 1v1 and just couldn't carry on. So we tweaked the shape and looked to do something so that we could keep Runes up our sleeve for later if we needed him. And like I say, the shape worked, they couldn't get a grips with it, and I thought for 20 minutes after we got in so many times, but like I say, the times we got in, we never punished them, and the 1 or 2 that they got in when they got a bit of pressure, it was a goal, and that's the disappointing thing. We don't seem to withstand that pressure.
There's a difficulty at the moment finding that balance, and we look like we can score plenty of goals, but at the back we also concede them. So is it a case of finding that balance now?
It is, but when you've got attacking players on the pitch, everyone's got to take responsibility. I always say you sort of play from the back and you defend from the front. It's not just obviously the centre halves and the goalie are the last line of defence, but there's loads before that. Their penalty comes, we've got them in an area where we're safe and we can keep them down one side of the pitch, and we don't. We dive in, they come in, and it wasn't a penalty. I've seen it back. It's not a penalty, and even the offside decision was strange where Booty had to make a save. So it's one of them. It's a bad day at the office. The performance for 60% of it wasn't bad, the way we passed and moved and created chances, but you can't defend the way we did, and ultimately we've lost because of that.
Tough week now ahead of Southend. Ideally you want to bounce back straight away, but the 4 weeks to prepare now.
Yeah, it's been, we've had 10 points from the last 15, and up until this game, if you'd have said to me, have you been happy with everything you've had over the last 2 weeks, a sort of a tough 2-week spell, I would have said the boys have given everything, and we deserved to win on Tuesday, but didn't take our chances again. But we have done in other games, so it's one of them. Football's all about bouncing back, taking these on the chin, but you also have to look at the underlying current. We're probably going to be bottom 3, bottom 4 on conceding goals in the league now, and that story tells its own tale, and yet we've probably been the better team in a lot of the games, but we've got to cut that out. And I had it at Wimbledon many years ago, and when we did cut it out, we ended up in the playoffs and getting promoted. So that's a team thing from front to back. We've got to cut it out, and we've got to have a better mentality towards that side.
Just a final one, Matt Preston not in the squad, was that from Tuesday night's injury picked up?
Yeah, he opened his knee up on Tuesday and it was very sore after the game, so Matty wasn't available because of that. So we brought Ty in, not a position he's alien to, playing in at the back. So like I say, it's nothing. That's not anything to do with their goals. Their goals have come from their first 2 or 3 real attacks, and that's the disappointing thing.